The strikes on Iran mark a pivotal escalation in a long-simmering standoff, one that feels less like a calculated chess move and more like a desperate shove off the edge. From a military standpoint, the joint U.S. Israeli operation, hitting everything from nuclear sites at Natanz and Fordow to missile factories and leadership bunkers, appears designed to cripple Tehran's ability to project power without committing to a full ground invasion. We're talking over 200 Israeli jets in the air, the largest flyover in their history, synced with American Tomahawks raining down from the sea. Early assessments suggest Iran's air defenses were shredded. Reports of a MiG-29 scrambling over Tehran, but no dogfights imply their radar networks are toast. But here's the rub. Iran's retaliation, firing off dozens of ballistic missiles under Truthful Promise 4, shows they're not folding easily. They struck U.S. bases in Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE, even hitting a hotel in Dubai. Casualties are mounting, with Iranian state media claiming over 200 dead on their side, including civilians in strikes that hit urban spots during rush hour. This isn't surgical, it's messy, and it risks pulling in proxies like Hezbollah or the Houthis, turning a targeted operation into a regional blaze. Politically, this plays like a high-stakes gamble for Trump and Netanyahu, both riding waves of domestic pressure. Trump's video message urging Iranians to seize your destiny and topple the regime echoes his first-term bravado but amps it up, explicitly aiming for regime change after failed Geneva talks where Iran offered a decade-long enrichment freeze but balked at total dismantlement. Back home, it's splitting the U.S. political scene. Democrats like Representative Gregory Meeks decry it as reckless power abuse without congressional nod, while even some Republicans whisper about the lack of an exit plan. For Netanyahu, framing it as a racing and existential threat bolsters his hardline image following the takedowns of Hezbollah and Hamas leaders. But it ignores the blowback, sirens blaring across Israel, light injuries but major disruptions. In Iran, the regime, already fragile after January's protests, with over 2,600 dead in crackdowns, and losing figures like Defense Minister Nasir Zadeh, could spark internal fractures or a rally around the flag surge. Khamenei's silence so far? Ominous. Either he's hunkered down or plotting a pivot. Economically, this is a gut punch to global stability, with oil as the canary in the coal mine. Brent crude jumped to $72.87 amid fears over the Strait of Hormuz, that choke point for 20% of the world's supply. If Iran mines it or escalates attacks on tankers, we could see $10 to $20 spikes per barrel, pushing U.S. gas past $3 a gallon and slamming markets. Stocks dipped 1 to 2%, treasuries tanked, and gold surged as investors fled to safety. Airlines are grounding flights, airspace closures ripple through trade, and Iran's internet at 4% capacity? That's not just panic, it's economic isolation accelerating their woes. Longer term, if this drags on, expect inflation to bite worldwide, especially in energy-dependent Europe, and a hit to Gulf states' diversification dreams as foreign investment dries up. On the humanitarian front, the strikes exposed the ugly underbelly. A bomb in Manab leveling a girls' school, killing 51 to 85 people, mostly children. That's not collateral damage, that's a tragedy fueling war crime accusations and global outrage. Tehran's streets are in chaos, with residents fleeing and fuel lines snaking for blocks amid blackouts. Israel's home front holds with intercepts, but the psychological toll, constant sirens, disrupted lives, mirrors what Palestinians have endured. This symmetry of suffering underscores how these operations, meant to neutralize threats, often amplify cycles of trauma, radicalizing new generations and straining aid networks already stretched by prior conflicts. Geopolitically, the ripple effects are drawing in the major players, fracturing alliances. Russia's Medvedev blasts the U.S.-Iran talks as insincere, warning of prolonged conflict, while China stays mum but likely hedges with arms or cyber support to Tehran. The EU's outcry, Spain's Sanchez calling it a breach of law, highlights transatlantic rifts with no unified front. Arab states? Publicly neutral or critical, but quietly letting U.S. jets through their skies. Jordan, Saudi Arabia, shows a pragmatic fear of Iranian backlash over loyalty to Washington. This could erode Iran's axis of resistance, already weakened by Assad's fall and Hezbollah losses, but it might also ignite asymmetric hits on U.S. assets abroad, from cyber operations to proxy terror. Nuclear-wise, the hits on Fordow and Natanz aim to set back Iran's program by years, echoing last June's 12-day war that obliterated it temporarily, but experts warn it's a delay, not destruction. Tehran's underground sites like the one at Fordow could rebound, and with the IAEA's violated obligations, they are closer to a breakout than ever. If Khamenei greenlights weaponization in response, we're staring at a proliferation nightmare, potentially dragging in snapback sanctions from the E3, UK, France, Germany by August. Trump's madman vibe, threatening total raising, might force concessions, but it risks pushing Iran toward Russia or China for technology, escalating to a Cold War-style proxy fight. In the end, this isn't just about nukes or missiles. It's a test of whether brute force can rewrite regimes or merely breed more chaos. Short-term wins for Trump and Netanyahu, degraded Iranian capabilities, a message to foes, could unravel into prolonged attrition, with U.S. casualties mounting and no clear off-ramp. If Iranians rise up as Trump hopes, it might birth a freer Middle East. But history from Iraq to Libya screams a warning. Vacuums fill with worse. Economically, a closed Strait of Hormuz spells recession vibes globally. Geopolitically, it alienates allies and emboldens adversaries. The real consequence? A more volatile world where deterrence frays and the next spark, say a proxy strike on US soil, could pull everyone in. We've seen these plays before. They rarely end cleanly.